We just built the most obnoxiously large bar in the center of our house, but it's kind of awesome. Let me walk you through this project. So welcome back, friends, to our home mystery on Mack, the warehouse in Detroit that we've been converting into our house for the past year. If you haven't been following along, we pretty much went full tilt and got this place done-ish. And one of my favorite spaces is our bar, and I'm so excited to walk you through the design process, the materials we use, because it was a pretty big focal piece of our home. So let's get into it. So starting with our front bar, you guys are probably already wondering, like, why do you have such a large bar moment in your house? And honestly, my partner Kyle and I, we love to entertain. I actually grew up with my parents having a home bar, and it's a place that we would all kind of get together. So it was really important for us to have that same experience. But the materials is where, things get a little different. So for the front of the bar, we designed this using all Salvage trim. If you get up close, you can actually see all the different trim profiles, and I think that's what makes this particular bar just so visually interesting. We designed furniture and spaces using reclaimed materials, so it was really important for us to just get material that we commonly find and try to reimagine it into something completely new. Oh, and did I mention that all of this trim came from the Whitney Mansion? If you are located in Michigan, particularly Detroit, then you know the Whitney Mansion. It's on Woodward. It's really cool. And so for the marble, again, we love using and designing with salvage material. Whenever we have a project that has marble specced out, we always try to find something that's old because it has that built-in texture and authenticity. But this marble here, oh my God, it wasn't until after it was installed that the fabricators from Michigan Tile and Marble told us that this came from the book Cadillac, which is another historic building in downtown Detroit. And it kind of reminds me of like a galaxy. There's a lot of texture, but I think the overall theme of this house is a lot of medium tone woods, a lot of black, some red, some gray. So I felt like this kind of had all of the color tones that we wanted. So while the front bar is pretty awesome, the back bar is equally as cool because we actually used the same material that came from the Whitney Mansion, and we made all of our cabinetry out of the wainscoting that came out of the attic. So the one thing that I love about working with, actually it's a love-hate really, my love-hate of working with salvage wood particularly is the texture is really awesome. Then once you start sanding away that texture, it reveals more texture, more patina. So, as you can see, there's actually a lot of water damage on the sides. I have it here and I have it over there. I've come to love it, but when I first sanded this piece down and then clear coated, I was like, shit, this kind of sucks. But that's also just like the beauty of working with these materials is that it's so perfectly imperfect, and I think you kind of just have to embrace the history and the life that piece has lived. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have in our home, and I can't wait to see how it ages as we use it. As a designer, I love contrast. So while we have all of this great natural wood and this beautiful, reddish brown stone, I really wanted to create some drama. So we built this entire structure and then we cladded it with salvage black glass that came from a jewelry store. So it's 2x2, they're probably like 3/4 inch thick glass. And there was definitely a lot of trial and error when it came to actually applying this to the surface. One, they use mastic glue and we use mortar. So there was a little bit of drama where, 1 or 2 of the panels came off, but we were able to fix our errors. Some of the little details that I love about this is actually these little chips and cracks. So working with reclaimed materials, you usually have limited materials. So we only had a certain amount of these panels to actually do this entire piece. So there's probably like 2 or 3 of them that have these like large cracks in it. But like I said, that's kind of the beauty of working with you know, stuff like this, it's so limited. You kind of have to play the cards that you're dealt with. And even though this might look kind of crazy to some people, I kind of love it. So when it came to designing the backsplash, this whole entire concept wasn't our original plan. We actually saved all of the brick from when we were demoing this place, and we were gonna make our own like brick terrazzo. But let's just say that our experiment R&D, it didn't really pan out. I just felt like it was too big of a risk to kind of keep working on it. So we decided to use wood. And this is actually the same lumber that we built our island out of, which is 100 and something year old timbers that came from old Lincoln car factory. But we decided to do the Japanese technique called shishugiban, which is pretty much torching the wood. It makes it bug proof, waterproof, mold resistant. I mean, of course, I still sealed it. The texture is really awesome, and I love the fact that you have this like black on black effect. You know, I love the contrast of like the texture of the wood against the high gloss glass. So we added a couple shelves. You guys must think we're alcoholics. We're not alcoholics. We, like I said, we like to entertain. I think that's kind of my thing. But we also love vintage glassware. So this was kind of our thinking of to display all of our spirits, but really just to display all of the glassware that we've been collecting throughout the years. I still have so much glassware in storage that I need to put out. These Kyle just got, and I was okay. These are going in. I've had these I've probably had this glassware for like 5 years. There used to be 6, now there's 4, unfortunately. So I don't know if you guys noticed our collection of Ray and Nephew. So I am West Indian, and this is our spirit of choice. I don't know what's going on in the world, but it's so hard to find Ray and Nephew. So we got a little inside scoop, and we bought like 10 bottles. So we get a lot of questions around our bar, so I figured I answer a few of like the most, you know, asked questions about designing a space like this. So the biggest question, why did we put this bar in the center of our house? So this warehouse is probably 2,000 square feet on the first level, and then we have our living room, then we have our kitchen and dining room, and then the bar right in the center, which later on in life, our front doors are gonna be like right there. So when you walk in, this is the first thing you see. And honestly, I wanted to put the bar in the center of our home because as much as this is an open concept, I do think that there should be defined rooms. Behind here is like our mechanical, and then this kind of comes forward, so it helps define the living room space, and then more of like the eating, other part of the entertaining space. Also, with the design, having this really big moment, it really just anchors the space. Having an architectural element that went all the way up to the ceiling was really important to kind of help create that centerpiece. So that pretty much wraps up our bar reveal. I mean, there's still so much more work that we want to do, but me and Kyle both agreed that we worked so hard to get this space together in a little over a year, pretty much, of just blood, sweat, and tears. And we really just want to enjoy the space. Also, if you've been following along, and if you haven't been following along, we actually just revealed that during this entire process, we've actually been filming with the Magnolia Network with the series called In With the Old. So season 7, episode 6, called Motor City Warehouse. You can watch the entire progress of this project from pretty much beginning to end, which is now. And yeah, make sure you check out our social pages because there's gonna be a lot more reveals and the projects will begin again, but right now I wanted to make these videos to show you where we're at, talk about the materials, talk about our design process, because yeah, phase 2 is coming real soon.